So what we have here is a 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee L. This is the limited model trim. So we're going to take a look at that and just kind of show you some of the differences on some of the other vehicles that you're going to be looking at. A couple extra goodies on this one. That has the panoramic sunroof, which is basically the whole roof kind of turns into glass, which is pretty cool. We'll look at that when we get inside. It also has the trailer tow group, so it's got the hitch and everything on the back. So if you're going to be pulling a little trailer with it or something, you're good to go that way. You don't have to add all the extra stuff. And we also put the Mopar finishing package on it right from the factory. So what that is you get, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it here in the video, but there's a little line here. Okay, and there's like a 3M film on the hood to help protect it from rock chips. And it also comes with the mud flaps there, as you can kind of see on the front and the rear, so help keep the rock rash down. A couple things on the Jeep Grand Cherokee. You'll see it's got the black bottom with the wheelet moldings are all done in black. That's kind of nice, helps keep the rock rash down. If you really want to get on top of it, we do recommend you get the optional running boards, because then if you're driving on lots and lots of gravel, it really helps. They tend to get a bit of a rock rash back in this area and here, so it's just one of the options that we recommend that you get put on. Across the front, we got the nice 0% sales event window sticker on the windshield. We'll leave that on there for you if you want. If you want us to take it off, we'll be glad to do that for you as well. Nice distinct front end with the vertical bars on the Jeep grille. Nice bright headlights, built-in fog lights. Good looking rim with the black inset. You can kind of see it in here. So it's the black on top of the aluminum, which looks really nice. Inside, pop open the door here. We got the leather interior. If you go with the limited versus the altitude edition, which rated with the altitude package, it has like the altitude's got like a suede insert. This you get the full leather, which is a little bit easier to keep clean. It's kind of a preference thing. I think I like both, so it's sort of 6 of 1. It's just whatever the customer likes better. It's got power lumbar here on the passenger seat, power recline forward and back. Oh, so we talked earlier about the panoramic sunroof. You can see it's got the twin panels. Across the front, you get the nice burnt wood look going through here. Power windows, power locks, lots of storage. Here's your glove box. It's got like the little quick owner's manual thing, and there's like a little reference guide that it comes with. If you truly want the full-blown owner's manual, just let us know. We can download it online and send you a PDF copy. They don't really make them anymore and print them, so that's how they do them. But they're about a 700-page novel. In the back seat, we got the quad bucket seats. You can kind of see I got this one slid ahead a little bit. That one slid a little bit back a little bit, so you can get more leg room. These seats, there's 2 ways to get in the back. If you got kids, they can run through, over there and then through the center or through the middle to get to the back. The other way is we can pull this little lever here, and the seat will tilt forward and slide ahead like that, and then you can climb in through there to the back seats for the 2 rear passengers. Typically, what we find is if you got kids in the back seat, they tend to just leave the center console out, and that way if you put the car seats in there, they can just kind of run around. It makes this easier for them to get through. It's a little bit easier for older people like myself to climb through the opening through the back here. In the center console, we got the automatic climate control. You got heated seats on the outboard for the for the passengers in the back. They can also set their temperature and and it's an automatic mode, so it'll automatically go to 20 degrees Celsius. If it's the AC that's running, it's going to blow it through the vents, which you can kind of see. If you look up in the back of that window, you can kind of see some vents up in that area. So that's where and you can also see on that pillar there, you can see a couple of vents there as well. So that's where your AC comes out. Same with your heat and stuff to keep that back window from fogging up. Little map pockets for some storage in here. There's some hooks. You can kind of hang some grocery bags on there and stuff like that if you want. Kind of keep odds and ends out of the way. At the back of the vehicle, you see how it's got this panel here. Okay, there's a couple little clips underneath. It's hard to do with one hand. It's awkward. But underneath here, there's a hitch. If you go to the pictures on our website at biglakesdodge.com, you should be able to see the actual picture of the hitch itself. I loaded that up earlier today. It's got a built-in backup camera. Let's just pop the rear hatch here. Just pull the handle. It'll automatically open up for you. In the back, we got a couple things. This is if I press this button, it's going to close the rear gate. Underneath this little tray, it opens up. You got a nice little storage bin. Inside this access panel, that's where your jack and everything is. If you open this up, that's how you lower your spare tire. There's a little crank in there that you spin down. Nice thing, too, about having this little storage bin. Great place to put things you want to keep in here. Extra set of jumper cables, so when your buddy Chevy doesn't start, you can give him a boost. You can keep your work gloves in there, that kind of stuff, so you don't get your hands dirty. you know, whatever, 6-pack of beer in case you want to go fishing or whatever, who knows. All right, back seat, this folds down real easy. Just pull this little handle. You can see how the headrest pop down automatically, and then just push it forward, just like that. Same for the other side. So now you got a nice flat low floor that goes all the way forward. So it's super handy if you want to do like a big grocery shop or something like that. It makes it easy to get lots of stuff in the back. I know lots of people that have this. They use it like a 4-seater. They only flip these seats up if they got the kids or, you know, they're hauling a big hockey trip or something like that, and they need the extra room. Rest of the time they just leave them down. If they are in the back, they do have the extra USB ports. You can kind of see them there. They can plug their cell phones in and charge them up. And then, of course, we already talked about like the rear heat vents and the rear AC vents for the third row. There's quite a ways back in this vehicle, so because it's the L, it's a bit longer. So basically with the L, you're getting the third row seat, by the way, versus the standard size. But you can kind of see with those vents, it really helps keep these back windows from fogging up, particularly if you got a bunch of people back here and it's like 30 below. They tend to get fogged over and then iced up. That'll help keep that from happening. All right, on the side, we'll open this side door, kind of take a quick peek in here. Lots of room. With this seat back a little bit further than the other side. You can see there's a fair amount of leg room in here, so it's comfortable for the rear passengers. Let's go up to the driver's side door now. We're going to pop this open. We got power windows, power locks, power mirrors. It also has the memory seat, so you can program in up to 2 different driver settings. So if you share your car with your spouse, they can they can program each setting into there. It'll move the mirrors, the seat, stereo. I think it changes all the radio stations for you. So it does a bunch of different stuff. So it makes it more comfortable for you when you hop in. Power seat for the driver. You can see it's got the lumbar and the switches and everything there. Hopping in, having a seat. We got automatic headlights. As soon as it's dark enough out, your headlights are going to automatically turn on. We got a couple of dash dials. One's for your feet, or your ambient lighting on your feet, and the other one's for your dash lighting, like your speedo cluster, that kind of stuff. On the dash itself, nice digital gauges. There's lots of different display outlets here. I'm just going to show you some of them. You've got like a driver's assist screen. I'll show you another one here. This is your speedometer. You can do like analog gauges. You can also change them, so it changes just to the speedometer with a tack down below. You can hit a cascade mode. It'll kind of give you a summary of all your different screens that are available to you, so you can kind of look at all of them. We can also go back. I prefer this one. That's what I like to use when I'm driving my Jeep. Driver's assist. This will tell you like your adaptive cruise, how far the setting are. Like if we turn your adaptive cruise on here like that, and then you can set the distance between you and the people in front of you. The less bars, the closer you're going to be. The more bars, the more space you're going to be, right? So you can adjust that when you're cruising down the highway. And what it'll do is it'll actually slow the vehicle down and keep the vehicle in front of you at the same distance. Makes it a lot more comfortable when you're driving. Lots of driver info screens in here. You can kind of scroll through your fuel economy. There's all your gauges and stuff, screens with what everything's sitting at as far as, temperatures and that kind of stuff. A couple of different tripometers. You can reset those. So you got a trip A and a trip B. Okay. Obviously, the fuel economy is really bad right now because all it's done is just sit here and idle in our parking lot. Like we've gone 20 kilometers in 2.5 hours, 3 hours of just idling, moving things around. That's loading it on and off the trucks, that kind of stuff. Automatic 4-wheel drive. We're going to talk about this when we get to the other screen. I'll show you how you adjust that. There's different 4-wheel drive modes that you can access. What the radio station is, what you're listening to. This screen here is if you had like any check engine lights, it would show up in here, and then it'll store the message. So when you bring it in, the guys can kind of find it and figure out what's going on and get it fixed for you. And then you can also set up your screen. So for instance, here on the upper left, instead of having the compass up there, I like to change that to the time. So you can see now we got the time over here. So you can adjust all these things. It's nice and customizable. What's nice about this is you can kind of change the layout to the screen to what you want to look at. Okay, we talked briefly about the adaptive cruise. So you've got the adaptive cruise here, and then you got normal cruise control on this button. So you got almost like 2 different types of cruise control. I prefer to use the adaptive cruise. I find it really relaxing. It's one of the cool features that I do use a lot, that I like to have. A couple of features that it does have that I don't use is the automatic start-stop. So if you're in stop-and-go traffic, it'll automatically shut the vehicle off and then restart as soon as you take your foot off the brake. I usually just turn that off, and I just drive without it. Mind you, living up in High Prairie, we don't really have stop-and-go traffic, so it's never much of a big deal, but you can do that. I just prefer to leave the vehicle running. You can also, another feature that I don't use is the the active lane management. I usually turn that off as well. What it'll do is if you start to drift out of your own lane, it'll kind of pay attention to it, and it'll kind of nudge you back in to your own lane, and it kind of give you a warning that you're drifting out of your vehicle lane. Not a bad idea if you're getting a little drowsy or something. Maybe you leave that on, but otherwise I leave it off. Then you got your traction control, your park sensors. You can turn those off if they're beeping at you like crazy. Like say they get real covered in dirt and mud, you can just disable them, and now they won't beep when you're backing out. Nav screen, so a nice bigger screen that you can access. We've also got a split screen. This is programmable. You can change all the layouts if you like. Nice big music screen access. You can punch in there all your music, different places, AM, FM. You can also bring your sources in. These are all the different things like Bluetooth, USB ports. Tons of ways of getting your different music to show up. Comfort controls, we got the heater controls for the driver and the passenger. Also, because this is the bigger one, we also have access to our rear heater controls. So those are the buttons we were looking at earlier on the back of the center console. Right now I've got it synced to the driver. So as I change the driver's setting, it's always going to change the rear as well at the same time. But you can actually override it. You turn that off, and now the rear passenger can adjust it the way they want it. I like to keep everything synced up usually, unless the kids are in the back freezing to death or something, then you can change it. Phone, if I had my phone paired, you'd show up here. I do recommend that you download Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. It's better than, I think it's better than the factory sync up system. It just mirrors your cell phone basically onto here, and it just makes things a lot easier to use. So your Apple Maps will show up on here. If you got Spotify or Apple Music, it'll show up on there. So all that kind of stuff. It just mirrors your cell phone. It's just a lot nicer to use. Vehicle settings. It's got this cool feature called Fam Cam, so you can hit that button. Now you can see there's a camera. I'll just show you. It's that camera right up there on the roof, that little black thing in there. Okay, so what it does now is that is the camera of the back seat, so you can see what the kids are doing. You can also zoom into one of the settings. So right there, it's looking at the passenger's rear, or driver's rear, sorry. But you can change the passenger's rear if you want to zoom in on the kids. So if they're fighting back there, who's on whose side, you can access that and kind of check that out. We can also hit this fold the third row headrest down. So when you're backing up, if I had the seats up, I could show you. But you can just fold down the third row headrest just by popping that button. We can also access our backup camera through here. You probably never use that too often because as soon as you go in reverse, that automatically shows up anyway. On your dashboard, you got these off-road pages. So if you're doing lots of off-roading, is your steering angle. It tells you if your rear axles are locked, that kind of stuff. You can access all your gauges. That's kind of a handy thing to open up if you're pulling a trailer too. Like say you're pulling a little trailer or something over the Coca-Cola and you want to keep track of what the temperatures are. You can kind of just pop that up and then watch it. You can also, your different types of terrain. So this is just a bigger version of the other one we were looking at on the center console, that one that we had over here. So it's just a different version of it. You also got a pitch and roll screen, which will tell you how steep of a roll you're on, how much of a side hill you're on, all that kind of stuff. So pretty cool features. Okay, heater controls. A couple things. We've got heated seats, heated steering wheel, heated passenger seat. To decrease the temperature, you just bump these up and down. Couple of options I like the auto button. I use that virtually all the time. I just set the temperature to what I want. So right now I've got it set at 20 degrees Celsius. In auto mode, it's just going to automatically do what it needs to do. It controls the fan, where the air blows, how hard it blows, how cold it blows. Just does everything for you. You don't have to think about it. It does have this button here, the max defrost button, which is super handy. If you hop it in the car, it's minus 30. Hit that button, it cranks the heat on defrost as high as it'll go. Now you don't have to go through all the settings and change it all. Also turns on your heated mirrors and your rear defrost just by when you hit that one button. So it's like one button, it's cold, you hit that. Nice little lid here to kind of cover everything with a piano finish. You open this up. Inside we got a storage area. You can lay some stuff in here. A couple USB ports. You can plug your cell phone in to charge it. Also got another battery or a key operated plug, so you can plug something in there if you want. Like a radar detector, that kind of stuff. Okay, so this is the 4x4 we were talking about earlier. We've got a snow mode, auto mode, sport mode, sand and mud. All you do is you just hit the change, and it'll change it to snow mode. Now it'll change to sand and mud. You can see how it changes it on your little screen there. It shows you your little 4x4. It also turns off your traction control so you can spin your wheels in sand and mud mode, does some other stuff. So what it's doing is that basically it's a software shift point change, changes when it shifts, how it shifts, just makes it act better in the conditions that you're burning around in. In sport mode, it's going to shift differently. It's going to rev higher before it grabs the next gear, that kind of stuff. Right there in auto mode is where you're going to drive 99.99999% of the time. If it's really snowy, like a foot and a half of snow and you're driving to work or something, you may want to go into snow mode. But for all intents and purposes, you're just going to leave it in auto mode, let's be honest. Drive, basically put your foot on the brake, we're in the drive. You're good to go. If you want to downshift, you can use these shift paddles here. You got one here and one here for shifting up and down, which is pretty handy if you want to use the engine to kind of hold back the vehicle when you're going down steep hills, or say you're really giving or pulling a boat out of the water, you want to go in first gear or something like that, you can use that for it. A couple little cup holders here. It's got a nice little lighted LED strip in here. Kind of turns on when it's dark out so you can see what's going on. Storage area. Nice little tray in here to keep some odds and ends out of the way. And then if you need even more storage, this opens up and you can kind of put even something bigger down there. On our overhead console, a couple things we want to talk about. It's got a rear tailgate release, so you pop this open, it'll actually lift the rear gate up. We can control whether we have our lights on, our map lights. You can just turn them on or off through here. You can also access it if it turns on and off for the doors, that sort of stuff. Open your slider on your sunroof, tilt your sunroof open and close, and then you can open and close the whole sunroof right from here. And this pops open, gives you a nice place to keep your sunglasses out of the way so they don't get all scratched up. Over here, this is your home link thing here, so this will program up to your garage door opener. So instead of having the clicker on your sun visor, you can actually program your garage door opener up to this. There's instructions to do it. I've never actually programmed my garage at home. From what I understand, it's supposed to be pretty easy. I've never actually done it. I just always use the clicker, but it is there if you want to use it. Okay, try to keep this video reasonably short. We're probably pushing 20 minutes or so, I think. So if you've spent this long watching it, I appreciate you taking the time. Give us a call. We'd love to get together, have a cup of coffee, and we'll send you home in a new Jeep. And if you want, we'll take that sticker off for you too.